Hi there, welcome to No Nonsense Whiskey. My name's Vin PF, and on today's episode we're doing another sample Saturday, and this time we've got a box from Cask Share, which is, here we go, is the front of that, look. Cask Share, they send me some stuff every now and again. We did a couple of little collaborations recently, but what they wanted to do this time round is talk about a new set of samples. Actually the first three, which we'll go through, and the other two are a bit of a bonus that they sent over to me. Hopefully you can all see these very well. I mean, look, I'm going to show these to the camera anyway. But before we get into it, obviously, if you've never caught one of these sample Saturdays before, usually, I mean, I do very minimal editing anyway, but these kind of like sample Saturday videos are going to be pretty much like unedited, apart from like serious dead air and mistakes. And they're generally speaking designed to be kind of a first impression of whiskies and what I'm getting from them as a first go, or more just introduce you to drams. These aren't full reviews by any stretch. Anything I say can be taken with a bit of a pinch of salt, because obviously we've got little sample sizes here. But yeah, so Cask Share, if you don't know who they are, they're a bit of they're a shop and a club at the same time. They've also got an offshoot where they do some monthly subscriptions. But Cask Share itself, the cool thing about that is that they've got loads of casks maturing away that you can buy bottles for now. Now, that can be a hard sell. Talking about in my Discord, we talked about this at great length, because obviously you're divided into two fields there. Some people see the fact that you're splitting with your money maybe years before you'll actually see a bottle, and some people quite like the whole part of being part of something. You've bought they call it a share, but it's not really a share. It's like a pre-ordered bottle essentially, right? And you pay up front for what they think the cost is going to be, and then there might be some adjustments for tax later on, which I think is probably slightly better than the other model, which is to pay for the spirit up front and the tax when it comes to it. So it's more like a half now, half later kind of thing, whereas this is more of an all up front kind of thing with some more small micro adjustments. But the cool thing about that is that if you actually have a look at their website, links in the description below, of course, if you have a look at their website, the prices, I don't know if they adjust as they get closer, but you can get a bargain with, compared to today's, kind of how much they cost, a bottle for the normal official bottlings of a whiskey. You can get a bargain for that now, and all you've got to do is wait a couple of years. So you're actually paying today's prices, not prices in 3 years' time. So you're sort of betting against the market, to say, because we're always assuming it's going to go up, right? I mean, especially over the last 5-10 years, whiskey's gone nuts. And if you could tell your 10 years ago self to buy a bottle that was now going to be like 3 times the price, I think you'd probably do it. So yeah, that's kind of my argument for this, is it works in that respect. You're kind of like, you're beating the market gain, I don't know, whatever. You can't do anything with that share, I don't think, but yeah, whatever. So anyway, what we've got then today is 3 from the Agitator distillery. Hopefully I'm saying that as I read it in English. I have no idea if that's said differently in kind of a Swedish, but they're a Swedish distillery. New to me. I've had a little sip of one of these, but the rest of it's going to be new to me. Then as a bonus at the end of this, we've got an Isle of Raasay, single cask. All of these are single cask, obviously, which again I've not really had any Isle of Raasay yet. And then finally we've got a Caol Ila, which obviously I'm old hat at Caol Ila now, but I do love a Caol Ila. So the first 3 then, if you go on their website, they've come through as a collection of the 3 of them together. So it's like, usually with these you buy them all individually. So this is a collection of the 3, and it's in collaboration with Pink Morrow. I've got the website up here, so maybe I'll fire some of that stuff up on the screen as well, who's an artist. He does, I think, a lot of the artwork for the bottles that they have. If I've reached around here quickly, I'm not sure if this is his. I don't think this is his, but anyway, the bottles have these really cool artwork on it, so his comes with this. But the kicker is that, rather unprofessionally reaching behind me, the kicker is that these bottles come with a print of his as well. So it's like a 1/2 metre by 1/2 metre size thing. So you get your 3 bottles and the print, 250 quid I think it is. And there's like 100 of these collections going. So 100%, I'll say right now, this is not going to be for everybody. This is not even going to be for me. I wouldn't be spending 250 quid on 3 bottles of whiskey, because I just can't afford that, no matter how good they are. So it's really cool that I get to try these, and hopefully you'll be interested in my thoughts on it. But like I said, it's not for everybody, but if it is for you, make sure you go and check it out, because I think there's still some available for sure. It was originally on ballot, but it's now just available, I think. And then the Caol Ila is the only one I can't find on their website. I don't know any more information about that, but the Isle of Raasay one, that's coming soon, I think. So that'll be an interesting one, so stick around for that. I'll put like timestamps below so you can skip around as well. Okay then, right. Let's get into the first one then. So the first one, I'll show you all these labels so you can see them if you want, but really I'll just chuck it up on the screen. This one here is the Collective Series, which is the way they do their whiskies. AG 1803. It's 59.1%, and from the website, it's matured in an ex Oloroso cask made from American oak with additional oak staves inserted inside, which, you know, is not something that you're allowed to do in Scotland, but I like it. I like it a lot. And they've even gone so far as to say spirit is unpeated, and it's a combination of both high reflux and low reflux stills. Results in a balanced spirit. Fine. I like that sort of information. I don't necessarily know what that means. You know, I mean, I understand what high reflux and low reflux means, but how that affects the flavour on the back end, that's not my business, baby. I just like what's in the glass. I'm using these ones today because they're the cleanest glasses I've got. I don't know if you've noticed, but a lot of my glasses are going frosted. I think I need to stop putting them in the dishwasher probably, but yeah, looks pretty good. Let's get into it then and see what we got. Okay. That's got a huge note. These have all been sat out for a while now because I did sniff them when I first poured them and I didn't get much, but they've opened up significantly in the sort of 10-15 minutes I've been preparing for the video. I'm getting quite a lot of cola, a little bit of cherries. My God, I mean, just on the nose itself, I would have been easily convinced that was a bourbon. So that's astounding. Not picking up many of the sherry notes, but that I would normally expect to get anyway. Those kind of raisins and figs and that sort of thing. Let's try on the palate and then we'll go back. Oh, that's weird. I mean, in a good way. Like, again, I mean, the initial mouthfeel on that, it's stunning, that is. I mean, that's high ABV, 59. These are all pretty high, 58, 58, 58, 60. Woo! Yeah, so, okay, right. Thought process. Need to say it out loud instead of just thinking it. For me, the initial mouthfeel is very bourbon-like. I mean, heaps of wood, so much oak, cherries. Again, sherry influence not really coming through on this for me. And I'm not picking up the kind of usual vanillas and stuff from bourbon. Here's where it gets interesting. On the back end, when those initial high flavours have kind of disappeared, it's returning to more of a normal, quote-unquote, air quotes, whiskey flavour. Certainly not Scotch-like at all. But I really like bourbon, so this is up my street for sure. Oh, what a beaut. It's almost like, dare I say, it's almost like an Elijah Craig barrel proof. I'm just going to have a little sniff. I'm not going to drink this, obviously. That's not quite. But not far off, you know. Whew, okay. What I am going to do today, because I know this is, I've done it in the order that they've sent it to me. I'm going to rinse because good etiquette, right? I mean, there you go. You can see terrible. That's all just my dishwasher doing that. Terrible. Okay, right. Next one then. This is the Agitator, the Collective Series AG 1804. 58.7%, and this one here, going back up to the website, is ex-bourbon cask made from American oak, of course, with additional chestnut staves inserted into the cask to provide both oak and chestnut characteristics to the spirit. Again, unpeated, balanced, with heavier, robust components. Okay, genuinely never smelt or tried this before, so Hopefully I'll process this quite well, but we'll see. Whoa, okay. I do not know what's going on there. Okay, I'm going to have to try that on the palate first before I process. Oh, I feel like I'm breathing fire. God damn, I mean, so ABV wise, this is actually bad maths, 0.4 less than the previous, but somehow it's like punchier. Okay, right. One thing I like to do, you know a bit of this about me. One thing I like to do is imagine what I would be thinking if it was blind. And here I'd be thinking it was kind of Scotch-like, but there's something about this that's weird. And I mean, obviously it's the chestnut, right? It's got that kind of like mustiness about it. But there's absolutely no way I'd be picking that out and going, that's a chestnut-influenced whiskey. Yeah, but it's got kind of earthiness and nuttiness to it. There are some kind of typical characteristics like that, those vanillas and honeys and things that are probably coming from the bourbon, ex-bourbon cask. But there's an earthiness that I'm really enjoying. And when I'm saying earthy, I'm talking, it's not peaty, it's like almost like muddy, but not in a bad way. It's like a vegetal kind of. It's really hard to pin down, you know, but it's very much like. Okay, stupid tasting note coming out now, but it's like turning your borders in your garden once it's rained. So it's like a kind of like a vegetal. It's earthy, man. I don't know what to tell you. It's earthy. Right, let's get back onto the palate. Yeah, I mean, again, oof. It starts out, quote unquote, relatively normal, and then something kicks in that just takes it away, and it's gone into this kind of like weird zone of my palate has no frame of reference for it. So it's you know, if you know how your olfactory system works, obviously we all taste what we taste. You know, it's electrical signals going to your brain, but it's all based on memory. You can't, if you've never smelled an orange before and you taste it in a whiskey, you can't say this tastes like oranges because you just don't know. You have to have experienced it before. So in this case, my brain is going, I taste a thing, do not know what thing is. So on the nose, it's giving me a picture of that kind of like muddy garden border. But on the palate, again, earthy, very drying on the back end. A little bit grainy. Any kind of sweetness at the front end of the palate has just disappeared off, like, you know, sugar cane, candy cane, whatever you want to call it. Not candy cane, what am I talking about? I've forgotten the word for it now. Candy floss, there you go. I'm going to leave that in. It's a little bit like that. It's kind of like, you know, you eat it and it's gone. I'm enjoying this for an entirely different reason for that. I've been doing a couple of live streams recently where I talk about the ease of drinking a whiskey. You have easy drinking whiskies, which some people might categorise as smooth, and then I have what I call challenging whiskies, which are ones where, so the easy drinking ones, they're the ones that you're going to pour when you're watching a film, where you're not sitting there. I mean, we all sit there and do this, but you're not sitting there. You're not making notes. You're not picking up other things like fruit and whatnot to try and smell, get some comparisons. You're not doing that. You're just enjoying it. Whereas something like this, I don't think I would ever pour unless it was going to get my full attention, because it deserves it. So much to unpick. But yeah, I like it for an entirely different reason to the first one. Okay, let's move on. I'm going to have a little swish out. And we'll see what we got. Okay, so the third one then is the Agitator. I wonder if I am saying that right, you know. Agitator 1905. And this one's 58.3%. And the website here says this is peated, right? So it's ex-Sauternes cask, French oak, peated. Peat content of 40 ppm, sure. It originates from Agitator's high reflux stills. So again, I don't know much about Agitator. So they obviously have a combination of different stills. So I like peated whiskey, so let's get into it and see what we got. On the nose then. Woohoo, okay. We're getting into that kind of weird territory again. But this is why I love it when I love exploring world whiskey, because they're not doing things. Some of them are emulating Scotch in their own country. Fine. They want to get a bit of terroir on that kind of like that traditional, but add their own personality to it. And then you get people that are just like, they're just doing weird stuff, man, and they're like they're breaking the mold, and I'm there for that. This. Okay, I'm gonna have to try it. Right, okay. Ah, there it is. I was going to say, so I don't have much experience with Sauternes. I've enjoyed some Sauternes cask whiskies in the past. Now, there's a kind of, I mean, if you know anything about Sauternes, it's kind of like a, it's, I mean, I don't want to massacre it by getting the facts wrong, but it's essentially a kind of wine that's made from like mouldy fruit. I want to say strawberries. They call it like a royal rot or something like that, you know, something stupid, but it's basically mouldy fruit. And I always get this kind of the same tasting note on the back end, where it kind of like disappears off into that kind of that mouldiness, but it's quite nice, I think. Right, let's go back to the nose and see what we got. Okay, weird stuff going on again for sure. But for me, my nose is categorising that as tannic, very woody. It's very, very dusty old bookshop vibes, which again, not a bad thing. But there's this weird sweetness to it. And now that I've said strawberries, I'm picking up strawberries, which is the power of my own, what you call it, I'm convincing myself of that. And again, in a blind tasting, there's no way I'd be like, that's a Sauternes cask. But in hindsight, knowing that information, I'm picking up some stuff that I normally get in Sauternes casks. So it's again very challenging, and I like it for another entirely different reason, because my brain is just going, I don't understand what's happening. I've been drinking so much Scotch recently that I need to branch out again. Yeah, I mean, it's got some peat to it as well, some smoky. The fruitiness falls a little bit flat pretty quickly. It's all well balanced together, but it doesn't, like, to use a really rubbish analogy, it doesn't sing together. It sings in parts. So if you imagined it as a choir, it would be like as if this group started singing and then they stopped, and this group started singing and then they stopped, and this one, they're not all singing together. They're all just going your turn, your turn, your turn, which is fine. You know, that happens a lot in whiskey. I have to say it's probably my least favourite of the three, which is weird considering it's peated. I like that, but it's on a personal level, it's not what I would normally reach for. I'm enjoying it, it's fine, but it's not what I would normally reach for. Whereas these other two are not within my normal wheelhouse, but they're worth. My brain wants to explore them. Whereas this one here, not too sure about it. There's some weird stuff going on, and I'm not sure the peat mingles that well with the Sauternes, but that's just my opinion. Okay. So that was the three. That was the three from the Agitator series. Well worth going to check out, especially if you're into that sort of thing, and you've got deep enough pockets for it. But let's get on to the next one and see what we got. We've got an Isle of Raasay. Now this one here, I should have a little bit more information about this, so I'm going to click on their website. 5-year-old. Hang on, I'll do the reveal. Collective series, and this is it's cask 19-/232. I'll put a link to this in the description, so you don't have to go and search for it. Isle of Raasay, 58.2%. Yeah, so on the website, it's a 5-year-old. Of course, they're a brand new distillery. A Chinkapin cask, which I've only tried a couple of those in the past, and they've not always sat well with me, but we'll see how we get on with this one. Genuinely never tried it. Unpeated, cask strength, fine. Any other information I can give? 261 bottles, 79 quid. And they're expecting it to ship in June, so it's not been released yet. Okay, let's try it. Looks beautiful, look at that. Okay. Don't know much about chin capping. In fact, I was about to say I think I know a bit about it, but I'm not even going to embarrass myself by pretending that I know anything about chin capping. Don't know anything about it. Let's try on the palate. Okay. Wow. I'm enjoying that. Right, I've got a weird tasting note of that, but I'm going to come back to it in case it disappears on me, because it's a weird tasting note. Okay, bear with. Okay, so on the nose. Yeah, I mean it's there. It's this. I've got a weird tasting note, but it's like it's okay. It's jam sandwiches. Okay, I mean yeah. I don't know. It's jam sandwiches though, man. That's what I'm getting. It's quite bready and quite yeasty, but it's got a sweetness to it that is bringing me straight back to eating jam sandwiches on white bread. And I love it when that happens with a whiskey. I love it when it sends me back to childhood, which it doesn't happen very often. And I will say one of my kind of guilty pleasures is the Dalmore 12-year-old, which is not something I would buy generally speaking, but it really sends me back to a specific moment in time. And this is what I'm getting off it. I mean, it's so prominent in my mind that I'm struggling to see anything else. Let's go back to the palate. Oh, I mean that is for me, and this is deeply personal, but that is memory in a glass for me. With obviously a massive amount of ABV to add to the future. So, yeah, I'm going to leave it at that with that one, because I don't want to sit there and pretend that I'm sort of making up tasting notes as I go, but I can't get past that. That is gorgeous. But I have to say, I think probably a good few of you wouldn't even get that, but that's just how things go. Okay, then last one. We've got a Caol Ila. I've got no information about this one because I couldn't find it on their website, but this is Caol Ila CA 1601. I'm not really sure what this means. I'm going to say it's maybe years. I don't know how long Agitator has been going for. Has it been going since 2003? I should probably find out stuff like that before I do these videos. But that's what I like about doing these videos, is that they're not really researched, and it's more about the liquid than the distilleries and whatnot. But I do like Caol Ila. 60.8%. Don't know about the age. Whatever age it is, I mean, look at that. It's like white wine. So that's probably like, third or fourth fill cask if it's got any age to it whatsoever. So I will say probably, it's going to be typical Caol Ila, right? There's nothing fancy about it. There's 1,000,001 different versions of Caol Ila in refill casks. So it all depends. And again, I can't sit there and talk about this one too much because I haven't got a price. So if the price is good, it's going to be banging. If it's not good, then it's whether you're going to be picking it up from these guys or not. So let's get onto the nose. Yeah, and this has got everything I know and love about Caol Ila. It's that sea air, the creme brulee, the vanillas and burnt caramel, blah blah blah. Very seaweedy, not very. It's very very like saline rather than kind of dirty peat, but that's what I like about it. Let's try on the palate. Yeah, man, it's like same on the nose. Those that sweet, that peat, that zero cask interaction, because it's just chilled out. It's just the liquid showing off itself. There's no tannins to it. It's a bit dirtier on the palate, in terms of peat than it was on the nose, but other than that, it's fantastic, as always. Do love a Caol Ila. So yeah, I'll reserve judgment on that particularly, because it all depends on how much that's going to cost, but if that's about 50 quid, then superb. But again, I don't know how old it is or anything, so, I wouldn't want to undercut it if it was more expensive. But in terms of, like, enjoyment, lovely. But it's just, it's Caol Ila. It's Caol Ila, man. I'm enjoying that. I'm going to enjoy that off screen as well. Okay, Bit of a longer one today. We've had 5 whole samples to get through. Let me know what you thought about these. I'm really enjoying the kind of cask share experience. You know, they've got a club and all that like you can go and have a look at. But if it's... one thing to say, if you've made it this far, I probably should have said it at the start, but you can... If you're in the US, they have a US version, which is not quite as fully fledged as the UK version, but you can get stuff. And in Europe as well. So... definitely go and check them out. They're a good company. I think they've actually just changed hands, but they're a good company and they're doing cool stuff. But yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed this video. If you have, hit the like and all that lot, and we'll have a little chat in the comments below. But I'm going to go away and enjoy the rest of these now and maybe save these, but we'll see. I don't know. In any case, I'll see you again on more whiskey videos soon. Cheers.